Hi there. This is a short lesson on the Moodle Gradebook. So the first thing I'm going to do is to open up a Moodle page from a long time ago so that I can show you how this works. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to show you how to put different assignments into categories and then weight those categories differently depending on how much they should count for in the final analysis. So I'm going to work with a course called Practical Surveying, a Moodle page I set up in the spring of 18 when I really was not doing very much with my Moodle pages at all. So my gradebook is basically not set up. So I thought that would be a good place to start. So in this course, to begin to set up weighted averages, to put graded items into categories, and then to weight those categories differently, you first want to go to the three horizontal lines at the top of the page, and then get a drop-down menu and go to grades, and then go to the grade setup. What you'll see in grade setup here is that I have the course 18 Spring Practical Surveying that is referred to as the parent category. And then I have several assignments underneath that the course total is a simple weighted mean of those grades. So the first thing I want to do is to build a couple of categories. In this case, let's say we have homeworks and we have labs. So to add a category, I just click this button and I say lab exercises. And you'll notice underneath it, it says that my aggregation is a simple weighted mean of grades. I think we can leave that alone for now. We have to save the changes. Moodle is really strange about always having to save changes. But I have one category with nothing in it right now. I'm going to add a second category, which I'm going to call homework. And then I'm going to add a couple of items to that. All right. So I'm not going to add all of the items here. Anything that you have as a submit button on your Moodle page will appear here. And I'll also show you how to weight some of those things to 0. But let's move this into the lab category. I have lab number 1. So I click on the arrow on the left-hand side, and then I come down to the lab exercises category and click underneath it. So then you'll see I have lab exercises with lab number 1 underneath that. All right. So you may have to save changes here and then do it again. So I'm going to get one more lab and put it down there. So I'm going to move this into the lab exercises again. In other words, underneath the lab exercises category. And I've got 2 lab exercises or 2 of the labs underneath the lab exercises. And then I save changes. Now I want to get a couple of homeworks and put them in the homework category. I'm going to see if I can do 2 without having to save changes. Maybe I can. So I'll put one here. And then I'll take another one. And I'll put it here underneath the homework. And then let's save changes and see if everything turned out okay. All right. So what I have now is I have a homework. I have another homework, which I need to get rid of. But I have lab exercises with 2 lab exercises in it, homework with 2 homeworks, and an extra one that I want to get rid of. So I'm going to delete that category. As long as there's nothing in it, it should not be a problem. Okay, so I have lab exercises, homework. All right, right now they're going to be weighted exactly the same thing. But in order to give them different weight, let's just say I want the homework to be worth 40% and I want the lab exercises to be worth 60%. What I do is I come up here to the parent category. Now I want to be really clear, it's not the course total down here. It's up here at the top, the parent category or the name of that category, and you go actions, and the actions column you hit edit and edit settings. Now you do not want it to be a simple weighted mean of the grades. you want to change that to a weighted mean of the grades right here. Okay, and let's see if that does the trick. Yes, okay, so now you see how there is a weight column that's been added. This was not here before. Now let's just say this stuff, it's outside of any category, and I don't want it to count for anything. So I can just say this is going to count for 0. Okay, and then the same thing here. I'm not going to do all of them once again, but I'll go ahead and change the weight on a couple of them. That means that they're not going to figure into the grade at all. But now I want my lab exercises to count for 40%. And so I'm going to put this as 0.4. I'm sorry, I want this to count for 60%. So I'm going to 0.6. And then I want this to count for 0.4. And then if I have all of these equal to 0, what that will do is it will take each of those categories and make it so that it's 40% and 60%. Now, if you have any gremlins up here, you will see that it would weight those extraordinarily heavily. So you need to make sure that all of these categories are zeroed out, because then they won't count at all. And the only thing that's going to count are the lab exercises and the homeworks. So whatever you have underneath the homework tab will be equally weighted, because we said it was going to be a simple weighted mean of the grades for both of those things. But now we changed this category, the parent category, to weighted mean of the grades. And then we have this opportunity to set the percents. Now at that point, I'm going to save changes. And you can see that we're set. All right, so that is a short lesson in how to create a grade book that will be functional for you in Moodle. Have a great day.